In 1973, a waitress from New Jersey borrowed $1,000 from her boyfriend to start a real estate company. 7 years later, that boyfriend left her for her secretary. And as she tells the story, on his way out the door, he told her she would never succeed without him. In 2001, she sold that company for $66 million. Her name is Barbara Corcoran. And today, I'm breaking down 4 lessons from her playbook that apply directly to your short-term rental business, and including the secret weapon she used to become the biggest name in New York real estate when nobody knew who she was. And friend, when I tell you what it was, you're gonna see exactly why I had to make this video. And if we're meeting for the first time, I'm Stacey St. John. I manage 45 short-term rentals in less than 10 hours a week. I'm the author of the Co-Host Code, and I help women build profitable short-term rental businesses that create freedom instead of overwhelm. And Barbara's story matters for every single woman watching this because she didn't start with money, connections, or credentials. She started with $1,000, a pile of rejection, and a decision. Let's get into it. Real quick, if you're building a short-term rental business of your own, hit subscribe because every week I share exactly this kind of strategy. All right, here's the first lesson. The doubters don't get a vote. Let's talk about who Barbara Corcoran was before anyone knew her name. One of 10 kids in a working-class New Jersey family. Straight D's in school. She had dyslexia nobody had diagnosed, and her teachers literally called her stupid. 25 different jobs by the age of 23. On paper, nothing about her said future mogul. And then the man who gave her that $1,000 loan, her business partner, her boyfriend, walks out on her for her secretary and tells her she'll never make it without him. Now, here's what I want you to sit with. She has said that failing over and over is basically proof you're meant to be an entrepreneur. That the whole game is taking the hit, getting back up, and saying, hit me again. Friend, I hear versions of Barbara's story from women every single week. Maybe nobody left you for the secretary, but maybe there's a voice in your life, or a voice in your own head that says, who are you to run a short-term rental business? You're not a numbers person. You don't have the experience. Here's the lesson. The doubters do not get a vote. Barbara didn't succeed because everyone believed in her. She succeeded because she decided the doubt was fuel. Every you can't became a brick in a $66 million building. Lesson 2, data made nobody the authority. Okay, this is the secret weapon, and this one is personal for me. In the mid-1970s, Barbara was a nobody in New York real estate. She had a tiny firm, no brand. She was competing with the good old boys club that had shut every door in her face. So what did she do? She started publishing something called the Corcoran Report, a simple newsletter tracking New York City real estate data. Average prices, market trends, real numbers, put out under her name. And something remarkable happened. The press started quoting her. The New York Times needed a market number, and they called Barbara. Suddenly, the woman that nobody knew was the authority on New York real estate. Not because she was the biggest, but because she was the one holding the data. My friend, if you have been around my channel, you know exactly why I love this. We talk about leading with data, not drama. That has been the fastest credibility shortcut in business for 50 years, and it's sitting right there for you as a host. Know your market's occupancy rate. Know your average daily rate. Know your seasonality and what the comps around you actually earn. Because the host who knows her numbers doesn't just make better decisions, she becomes the person other owners trust. She becomes the co-host who wins the contract. She becomes the investor who spots the deal everyone else missed. Data turned a waitress into the queen of New York real estate. Imagine what it can do for your short-term rental business. Now, quick question, and be honest in the comments. Do you actually know your market's average occupancy rate right now, or are you running on a quick gut feel. There's no judgment either way, but I want you to know where you are. And I read every comment, so drop it in there. Here's lesson 3. Bet on people and hire better than you. If you've ever watched Barbara on Shark Tank, and she's been in that chair since 2009, you know her investing style is famous. She bets on the person, not just the product. She'll pass on a slick pitch with perfect numbers, and she'll write a check to a scrappy founder with a fire in their eyes. And that's not a TV gimmick. It's how she built the Corcoran Group. She has said her real skill was hiring people who were better than her at the things she couldn't do, and then getting out of their way. She grew that company for 28 years without outside capital, and she grew it on the strength of the people she picked. Now, let's bring this one home, because this is where I watch so many hosts get stuck. You cannot build a short-term rental business that gives you freedom in it if you're the only person in it. And when you do build your team, your cleaner, your inspector, your handyman, maybe your co-host, the person matters more than the resume. Barbara looks for attitude, hunger, and follow-through, and then builds structure around great people. That's exactly the posture I want for you. Hire for character, train for skill, and define the roles clearly enough that great people can actually win in them. A great cleaner with a clear checklist will absolutely outperform a perfect resume with vague expectations every single day of the week. Lesson 4, know your worth and then say the number. And this might be my favorite negotiation story of all time. Here it goes. In 2001, Barbara decides to sell the Corcoran Group. The buyer comes in with an offer, $22 million, like life-changing money. Most people would have signed that deal before the ink was dry. Barbara's response though, it's worth $66 million. Call me when you can get to $66 million. Why 66? Because 6 was her lucky number. I'm not kidding, that was the analysis. And they paid it. Now, I'll always tell you to ground your numbers in data, not just come up with a selling price because they're your lucky numbers. But underneath that story is something every woman watching needs to hear. Barbara believed she was allowed to name her price. She didn't apologize for it. She didn't pad it with, I know this might sound like a lot, but no. She said the number and let silence do the work. Where does this show up in your short-term rental business? Everywhere. The nightly rate you're scared to raise even though your reviews say you're underpriced. The co-hosting fee you quote apologetically. The premium you don't charge for the experience you've worked so hard to build. Run the data, find your numbers, and then say them like Barbara would, without an apology. So let's recap Barbara Corcoran's playbook for your short-term rental business. Number 1, the doubters do not get a vote. Doubt is fuel, not a verdict. Number 2, data makes nobodies into authorities. Know your numbers and lead with them. Number 3, bet on people. Hire for values and character, and then build structure around great humans. And number 4, know your worth and say the numbers without apologizing for them. $1,000 loan, a pile of rejections, and $66 million on her exit. Her number. And because I want you to put this to work, not just feel inspired for 10 minutes, I turned all of these 4 lessons into a free download. It's called the Self-Made Host Playbook. It walks you through each lesson with action steps you can apply to your short-term rental business this week, and it's completely free. You'll find the link in the description below. And if this video lit a fire in you, do me a favor, give it a like and hit subscribe, because this channel exists to help you build your short-term rental business with data over drama and freedom over overwhelm. Now, go say your number, my friend, and I'll see you in the next video.